Another day, another cast member from the Rings of Power calling themselves a victim and attacking the fans. This time it's Galadriel, in name only. Can't wait to see what she has to say. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. The Rings of Power debuts on Amazon Prime today, and while I haven't had a chance to torture myself by sitting down and actually watching this utter mess of a show yet, it seems I can't escape it altogether. This show is one of the more unique marketing techniques I've ever seen employed by a major studio. Constantly calling yourself a victim and a hero while attacking the very people you want to watch your show.
Fools! Idiots! Imbeciles!
This was the tactic they used during the first season, and they got precisely the response you'd expect. Their rhetoric only fed negativity around the show, and that, coupled with the atrocious storytelling and utter deconstruction of Tolkien lore, led to only 30% of the audience sticking around for the finale. It's the most expensive bomb in the history of streaming, perhaps all of Hollywood. One season of this mess costs more than Peter Jackson's entire trilogy, so you'd think they'd go back to the drawing board, right? Nope. They're back to the same tactics as last time.
Fools! All of you!
The fans are terrible bullies, and the casts are heroes, victims, and martyrs, sacrificing themselves to make fantasy more inclusive for everyone. Fantasy was always inclusive. It was fantasy. Fiction. It lives in our heads and speaks to universal concepts like heroism, coming of age, and family. This show is all about patting yourself on the back because you checked off your diversity point worksheet. Have your female dwarfs, have your female warriors, have your black elves. I don't care. Just stop pointing out their race to me. It's not important. What matters to me is how they are as a character. And if the race of the character is important to you, then sort your priorities out. Earlier this week, I had a video focusing on the lady who plays the female dwarf, making asinine statements about the fans, and telling a definitely fake story about how she told her daughter she could only identify with a character if she looked like her. Today, it's the leading lady herself, Galadriel in name only, speaking out in a video in which she manages to play the victim, attack the fans, and defend her complete annihilation of Tolkien's beloved character. Let's marvel at the sheer spectacle of it today on Tooney TV. So, Rings of Power actress Morfydd Clark plays victim while defending show's abominable depiction of Galadriel. And that comes from our friend John Trent over at That Park Place. Should be no surprise to anyone who watches this channel. We love That Park Place here. We are a contributing reporter. We, as in the royal we. I'm a contributing reporter to That Park Place. I believe in That Park Place and just, love sharing articles, from the home team, so to speak. And John Trent does an amazing job. So let's see what he's got to say here. Morfydd Clark, the actress who plays Galadriel in name only in The Lord of the Rings of Power, chose to promote the show by playing victim while defending her in the show's abominable depiction of Galadriel. Boy, that's putting it lightly there, John. I don't think you went for the jugular enough there, because this is Galadriel. I always say Galadriel in name only because the character that we meet in Lord of the Rings, played by Cate Blanchett so expertly, she was the most powerful being in Middle Earth. She was absolutely power and just grace and beauty personified. And the fact that they turned her into a smirking, snarky, scowling girl boss, just, oh my goodness, it just absolutely boils me up inside. So in an interview with Elle, Clark said, "I was just totally unprepared when season 1 came out. I've seen a really dark side of what it means to be someone who anyone can write a message to on Instagram, and a really lovely side." She went on to claim that she received negativeness primarily from men. Ugh, those evil, horrible, terrible men. Yeah, well, it's a good thing you're not the lead in a fantasy series here. The primary audience of which is usually, those men. She then explained that lots of criticism I got from some fans were for things that making other people feel liberated while watching Galadriel. Son of a bitch! Liberated? Really? Get off your high horse. Stop considering this entire cast. They think that they're the Avengers. They think they're these heroes of the world, that they're like empowering people with their performances because they stood in front of a camera and pretended to be somebody else. No, you know who should be galvanizing people and inspiring people? How about our armed forces? How about people like that? How about actual heroes that go out there every day and save people's lives? Not some adult pretender who's overpaid, some hacky actor who took a beloved character from a beloved fictional work and just brought it down to the level of the lowest common denominator and turned it into Captain Marvel. She elaborated what certain people didn't necessarily enjoy about her and other people did. She takes up space. She's unapologetic. Well, you know what? I agree. You did nothing but take up space in that last season, lady. That was you in a nutshell. You were just there, and you were on. She was unapologetic, even when she's wrong. Just constantly, this character was just absolutely abysmal. She was like a another version of Michael Burnham from Star Trek Discovery. Just always right, always stunning, always brave, and and never humble in any way, shape, or form. I didn't want her to act like a human woman who's been taught not to be abrasive. Yes, you were entirely abrasive. You acted nothing like a human being, which you want to say elves aren't human beings. That's fine, but elves are graceful. Elves are elegant. There was no grace or elegance to this performance. You were just a brute. You were just a snarky, smirking, scowling brute. There was nothing about Galadriel in your performance or elves in general. You didn't act like a human woman. You didn't act like an elf woman either. You didn't act like any being who has a soul in their body. You didn't act like anyone who has a heart beating in their chest. You just acted like a robot. It was another version of May and Osha from the Acolyte or Captain Marvel, just these robot girl bosses who just smirk and scowl their way through scores of enemies with no effort, with no work, with absolutely nothing to show from it. Then they try to prop themselves up by saying they're inspiring people. Give me a break, lady. She said, every other character I've played, because the human women, there's shame built in. In season 1, Galadriel doesn't have that. I'm glad I committed to that. No shame. But I would say that in life, ma'am, you don't have any shame, because if you can look at the performance that you gave in season 1 and be proud of it, where 37% of the audience didn't follow you from the premiere to the finale, and you can actually be like, oh, look at what I did. I'm so great. I'm a hero. I empowered people. Then more power to you, because you live on the island of delusion, lady. That which is probably a far more glorious place to be than Valinor. Showrunner J.D. Payne, who is a J.J. Abrams disciple, also attempted to do what he does best: invoke the name of J.R.R. Tolkien while proving that he knows absolutely nothing about J.R.R. Tolkien or his lore, to justify the massacre he and Clark committed on Galadriel. He says Tolkien gives us hints that Galadriel was prideful, that she was a warrior, and at various times in her history. No, he doesn't. No, he absolutely does not. There is nothing in any of Tolkien's writings about Galadriel being a soldier or being a warrior. Galadriel was a queen. She was the queen of the woodlands. I don't know. She had a husband. There was established lore here that they have ignored for the purposes of girl bosshood. I'm going to let Hollywood in on a little secret here. There are plenty of women who are married and in happy relationships who are also strong, independent, fierce, good people who have a positive impact on their community. He added, we said, how can we take her from being an impetuous, prideful young warrior to the wise lady of the wood? Ugh, nobody wants to see that. She's not on a journey. She didn't learn anything in season 1. She didn't grow in season 1. John then goes on to say this is all a giant gaslight and is clearly part of a failing marketing strategy, one they attempted with the first season 1. Prime Video went out of its way to cast actors that look nothing like the characters that Tolkien described. They cast Lenny Henry, Sophia Nomvet, and Ismael Cruz Cordova as a hobbit, dwarf, and elf, respectively. Yeah, they race bent everyone and then tried to tell us that they were like some kind of great civil rights heroes. Like, stop it. Enough. And by the way, Lenny Henry is not a hobbit. She's a Harfoot, because they don't even have the rights to the hobbits. So clearly, John's right. They are hobbits, but they can't actually call them hobbits. They spent $1 billion and didn't even get the full rights to the franchise. Prime Video then instructed the actors to antagonize Tolkien fans, with Nomvet leading the way at San Diego Comic-Con. She told PA Media, we are redressing the balance within the film and television industry, and of course this franchise, and I hope lots of franchises moving forward. Get over yourself. Furthermore, she declared that they were intentionally butchering Tolkien's lore in order to indoctrinate the modern audience they hope to capture with it, quote, to be part of creating accessibility for generations to come, for new generations. This is their version of Tolkien. Their version of Tolkien is something that has nothing to do with Tolkien. It's not Tolkien. This is what my daughter will see of Tolkien's works. So she's never going to actually see Tolkien's works? everything that this woman says is infuriating. She goes on to say this is a reflection of the world we live in. There are many and we are different, and we will embrace and discover and peel back and learn and educate and be educated. What does that even mean? This is all just nonsense gobbledygook, talking points that somebody makes when they're trying to sound intelligent, like they're trying to sound like they're making a difference in people's lives. And we can only do that when we embrace and love our differences. No one is. All right. So what do you guys think? Are you going to be watching season 2 of this mess? Are you already turned off? Were you turned off in season 1? Did you stop watching it then? Did you finish it? Sound off in the comments section below and let me know. The sad thing about this show is that I bet it runs 5 seasons. Amazon has sunk so much money into it at this point that the company is obsessed with making at least some of it back. Yes, Rings of Power is back, and the shill media outlets are singing its praises once more. We're going to be reviewing it here on the channel as long as there seems to be interest from you guys, but I'm really not looking forward to it. The works of J.R.R. Tolkien are very dear to me. They spoke to me as a kid during a time in which I felt very alone in life. I didn't need to see myself in any characters because I saw myself in their actions. I saw myself in their mission, or at least I aspired to see myself in it. I was inspired to be kind, to do good, to resist temptation, to push back against evil the way the Fellowship stood up to do. But in this show, the answer to how to respond to evil is apparently to spoon it to death. They've hyped this Sauron and Galadriel romance leading up to this season, and it's despicable. Imagine Cate Blanchett and her brilliant performance snuggling up with the Dark Lord. This show is being made to appeal to the Reylos of the world, the ones who are obsessed with powerful women dating and loving genocidal madmen. If you're sitting around writing Galadriel on your notebooks, please seek professional help. But if you're an actual sane person, or if you're crazy in a fun and non-threatening way, like, say, a guy who plays with puppets on the internet, then come check out Tooney Talk TV Thursday nights at 8 p.m. EST. It's a live stream pop culture podcast where you can make your voice heard as part of the Tooneytown community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooneytown channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!